Hi everyone, welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined as always by GR Dad.
Yes, hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good. I'm thinking I'm not always joining you, but I guess I'm always joining you, at least virtually.
If you're not with me in person, I say joined over distance by GR Dad.
Oh, yeah, I like it.
Yeah. You're always with me,
Oh,
but if you're over distance, I say so.
Sometimes it's in my heart. Okay.
The cocktail of the week this week is called the Hugo Spritz, sent to us, I believe, by friend of the squad, Brittany. The Hugo Spritz is a very,
Who's this Hugo guy?
well, let me see if I can tell you. The Hugo Spritz, I was first introduced to the
Is it
Hugo.
Victor? Is it something else?
The Spritzes date back to the 1800s, Austro-Hungarian Empire.
So it is Victor, maybe. Hugo.
I mean, that'd be interesting. The Hugo Spritz was created in the Tyrol region of Italy near the Austrian border by Roland Gruber, who created the Hugo as the alternative to the Aperol Spritz, replacing Aperol with elderflower syrup. But elderflower syrup is not as common in the United States, though we certainly have some in Florida. So you can get Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, and so that's how you can make it. So it doesn't say why he named it that.
Well, he was the grandfather of Hans Gruber, who tried to take over that building at Christmas time and got fallen down by Bruce Willis.
That's my favorite Christmas movie.
Die
Hans
Hard.
Gruber's in there.
Anyway, his grandfather invented the Hugo.
So the Hugo Spritz is just like an Aperol Spritz in that it has Prosecco or some kind of sparkling wine. And just a hint that you can get La Marca Prosecco in like little bottles, like individual serve bottles at the grocery store, which are really good if you're not going to make a whole pitcher of spritzes. I once went out to dinner with a friend who wrote a movie that you guys have seen, Guardians of the Galaxy. She wrote that movie.
Only that.
And I was out having drinks with her and my friend Summer Ash, who's an astrophysicist. And we were talking about cocktails, and we were talking about, I don't know if it was Aperol spritzes, some kind of spritz. And I was like, what do you do with the like rest of the bottle, right? Like you open a bottle of champagne or Prosecco or whatever to make an Aperol spritz. Like,
It has like a,
just have
like a splash of the liquid in it, right? I mean, you're just topping it up with that.
So spritzes are 3 to 2 to 1 ratios. 3 Proseccos, 2 of the liqueur, and 1 of soda water.
It's not nearly a bottle.
It's definitely not a bottle. And I was like, what do you do with the rest of it? And she's like, we make a whole bottle's worth. And then we drink it. And I was like, oh, I see.
I mean, that is sort of like asking, like what do you do with the cava that you have left over after you make sangria? No.
We drink
We base it on the unit
all
of
of
the
it.
bottle.
That's right. So,
That's pretty good.
yeah.
She's impressive.
Nicole Perlman. Thanks, Nicole. I aspire to your levels of awesomeness.
Also, good movie.
Yes, very good movie.
Good job.
Anyway, so the Hugo Spritz is the same proportions, 3 to 2 to 1, 3 ounces of Prosecco, 2 ounces, in this case they call for elderflower liqueur, though I will say, like my stomach has been sore for like 6 months, and I had to...
Just as an aside.
I was worried that I had an ulcer, and I don't, but I had to get like a whole endoscopy. It was like a whole stupid thing.
Also would have been easier.
Yeah.
No one has an ulcer.
And they're like, yeah, it's all irritated. And I was like, yeah, it is. And so I've been like looking at like, what's the list of like things that I shouldn't have in order to make my stomach feel better. I mean, I've got some medicine too, but the list is
Road to go down.
all the good food I shouldn't eat. The top of the list is caffeine. And you go, how many Diet Cokes do I drink a day? I don't know.
6.
Not anymore.
6 on a good day.
It has been remarkably easier than I thought to cut. I thought it was going to be really bad cutting back on the caffeine, but now I just have like half a Diet Coke for breakfast, and then I've got like some caffeine free, and it's been fine. But also like alcohol irritates your stomach, so I'm like, I'm not going to like never drink again. We went out tonight and we had sangria, which was great, but I have not been drinking at home, and I miss the ritual of like having the cocktails, and so I've been trying a whole bunch of different non-alcoholic stuff. But you can make a good low alcohol cocktail with 3 ounces of Prosecco and then actually use elderflower syrup, which you can buy. We have it because when our favorite place, Firefly, went out of business when they closed, they sold off all their bar stuff. And I was like, ooh, the elderflower syrup that they use in the drink that I get here all the time. And I bought like all the bottles of it that they had. So you can buy it if you just go on Amazon. And so then this would be like 3 ounces of Prosecco, which is like not a full glass of Prosecco, low alcohol, elderflower syrup, which has no alcohol, and soda water. And so that would be a good like low proof cocktail. And the thing about low proof cocktails is it means you can have a bunch of them and not
still function.
Where you can have like 2 normal drinks, but you could have like 4 of those other drinks. 4 would still be a lot of Prosecco, but still. Anyway, if you're just making this at home, Prosecco, elderflower liqueur, Saint Germain is the one that you'll find at the store. It's in a cool bottle. It'll look great on your shelf. And then soda water. It's very refreshing. Floral, sparkly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Taste.
So there you go. That's the cocktail of the week. It's been on the list for a while to do as the cocktail of the week. The Hugo Spritz. Are you ready for Administrative Corner?
Oh my goodness. I've been waiting here with bated breath on my, leaning forward for Administrative Corner because I love Administrative Corner.
Okay. Yeah. So, Voods plushies. Let's talk Voods plushies. Okay. The Voods plushies are available for another 10 days until September 21st. Now, normally what we do with the plushies is like on the last day, we go, it's the last day, and then Makeship's like, hey, do you want to extend it by a week? And we're like, yes. And then a bunch of people order in the last week. But the current plushies are scheduled to ship on December 17th.
Oh, you'll miss Christmas.
And if we extend it a week, they extend the ship day, which will miss Christmas. But at this point, like, not everybody will get them for Christmas, but it's like 7 to 10 days shipping time. So, like, most people will actually get them by Christmas with the current shipping date. So we are not going to extend it this time.
So
get your orders in the next 10 days.
We're definitely not going to extend it?
We're not, because then everyone will miss Christmas.
Oh, that's bad. The late people will mess it up for the early.
That's right. So if we extend it, sure, more people will order it, but then no one will get it in time for Christmas.
I understand the problem. I just understood the problem. Everyone who's already ordered will hate the people who ordered late.
That's right, because they'll be like, oh, I was going to give it to my friend who loves the Golden Ratio for Christmas.
Them.
No, it wouldn't come then. So
find them and say, come on.
So
no.
We're keeping the 17th as the ship day, so most people will get it in time for Christmas. Not everybody. Some people will get it right after.
Deadline, so I can put on my calendar in red.
September 21st.
10 days from today.
I guess September 20th.
Several times.
1 second. 10 days, 23 hours, so technically 11 days. So I guess like September 22nd would be the end.
September 21st. If it's the
September 21st.
equinox.
That's right.
And you haven't ordered a Voods,
you're not getting one.
You have a little bit longer, but only because the constellations and the stars have aligned.
Voods is mystical.
And Ghost Moods is giving you an extra 12 hours. But don't count on it.
He's basically disappearing at the equinox.
Yeah.
Like the light that extends past half the day, so doth disappear Voods at the equinox.
Gotta do other stuff, like eat stuff or, blow out your circuit breakers or whatever.
Yep. So get your Voods orders in if you want to. He's sold 506.
September 21st, beginning of fall, beginning of the end for Voods.
Beginning of production for Voods.
Fair enough.
Okay, so that's Voods. Item number 2, if we're sticking with the merch section of Administrative Corner, the Purist Bond, which is my book.
It's a good book with a greater title page.
Have you read it?
No. Bits and pieces.
That's okay.
I haven't read it from cover to cover. I'm busy with these clowns.
Absolutely. I understand.
Did you notice the puppy?
I have noticed the puppy, yeah. So the Purist Bond has sold 2,389 pre-orders, over half of which come from Honest Dog Books. From Honest Dog Books, which gets you a paw print. And remember, if you donate a book to another friend of the squad through Honest Dog, we will mail you separately a feta paw print, which you'll get sooner. So.
And it goes internationally because it's not packaged.
And it does. It goes internationally. So our goal is like 7,000 to 10,000 pre-orders, and of course it's all early at this point. Like there will be more coming in later, but
As soon as I get a new credit card, it is my goal. But geez, the other one got cut off.
so if you're like, man, I am going to order Jen's book at some point, order it before it comes out on November 14th. Order from Honest Dog Books and get yourself a paw print, and help get Vink on the New York Times bestseller list, which will probably require 7,000 to 10,000.
Get Vink on a billboard
Make
in Times Square.
Make Vink famous. On the note of the book, I am now officially authorized to say that we're going to have another book. We signed a contract with our same editor at Simon & Schuster, and so at the same time, mid-November 2025, there's going to be another book coming out about dog psychology.
This one's called Where is the Cheese? Feta and Other Smelly Things.
It is not. It is tentatively titled Better Natures, Inside the Emotional Lives of Dogs.
Oh my goodness, that sounds better than my idea.
But that may change, but it's going to be good. We're just getting started working on it. But we're going to visit a whole bunch of dog research labs, like not sad dog research labs, like labs where people bring their pets in and see if they know their names, like we did with Vink. And the answer was no.
It ended up sad for us, but the lab itself was kind of fun, yeah.
So pre-order your book, you guys. That would be great. It would make me happy.
Labs that show that Vink is weird.
All right, and then Administrative Corner is also where we do updates on previous week's stories. And this
Oh.
week, we have an update on the One Chip Challenge. If you remember from last week, there was a teen who died from the Pocky One Chip Challenge. And so this week's headline is, the maker of the One Chip Challenge announces it's pulling products from store shelves after teen dies. Pocky, the maker of the One Chip Challenge chips, announced on Thursday that it will pull its products from store shelves a day after a teen died suddenly after eating a spicy tortilla chip.
Jeez, wow.
It is meant for adults only, and products had clear labeling saying it's not for children or anyone who cannot tolerate spicy foods or has allergies. And they say, quote, we have seen an increase in teens and other individuals not heeding these warnings. As a result, while the products continue to adhere to food safety standards, out of an abundance of caution, we're actively working with retailers to remove the product from shelves.
Well, that's responsible.
Pocky said it will be offering refunds for its single-serve One Chip Challenge product to people who call the company at 1-866-528-6848.
Hot Pocky.
Okay, so there you go. Chip updates.
Wow. That's very responsible, I gotta say. Good job.
All right, it's time for dog updates.
Okay.
We did a road trip. We're in Maryland today. We drove Saturday and
Thank
Sunday
goodness.
from Florida to Maryland. It was not the smoothest trip.
And it wasn't Feta's fault.
Feta was an angel. We have a whole section of like Feta and why she is so good. Feta did a great job. I mean, everybody did a great job on the road trip,
Yeah.
but Feta is the one we were worried about. And they were all well behaved and perfect, and it went great. So the dogs were awesome. We decided to split this up into 2 drives, which was nicer aside from the problems. And we stayed in South Carolina at a place that we've stayed before. And it went great. The place was very nice.
This was the wooden box, like being inside the cigar box.
It was all wood, that's true.
It occurred to me at the time that anywhere you looked, there was wood paneling. Floor, ceiling, wall.
Yeah. Furniture, yeah, it was all wood.
Inside furniture,
Yeah.
whatever, yeah.
So last time we stayed at this place,
I was watching that happen. I carefully constructed.
how wet is it?
It's not wet at all because it was dry. She's thirsty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is she parking it now?
It
Feta
was
just
a
knocked
water
over the
bowl
elevated
tower.
water bowl. So we stopped at the place, and last time we stopped there, we were just driving the RV because it was a shorter trip. This time we're up in Maryland for like 3 weeks, and we need 2 cars because I'm going to be traveling a lot, and Ingo has stuff to do. And so we need 2 cars, and so we took the RV, and we also towed my Jeep. And so we pulled into this place, which like literally you're going down like a dirt road with 2 ruts. And we pulled in and kind of curved the RV into the yard. And I was like, we are 100% going to have to disconnect the Jeep in the morning from the RV and back the Jeep out and then back the RV out and then reconnect them, because there's no way that we're going to be able to back the Jeep out without like jackknifing it or like backing it up through their like nice pasture lawn and like totally messing it up. And so we like all agreed, and I'll talk about how crazy Feta was when we got there, but like we agreed with that.
Yeah, just as a detail, we're not towing the Jeep on a trailer. You can't back this thing up. It's on all four wheels. Steering wheel is loose.
Yeah, kind of in neutral.
Yeah, just in neutral, and if you try to back up, it immediately the steering wheel's turned towards
Yeah, it's
the
terrible.
inside of the circle, and you jackknife.
I mean, you tried to back it up like 5 feet in the driveway, and it was and I was like, stop!
Yeah.
It's all turning. So we pulled it in. Ingo got up before me, as he usually does, and then I eventually woke up, and Ingo, the first thing he says to me is, "You want to hear about the problem of the day?" I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "The battery in the Jeep is dead." And you guys, it was not like kind of dead where it wouldn't start. Like you open the door of the Jeep and it's just black. No lights, no dash, nothing. It was 100% dead. Guac! Leave your sister alone. Guac! Guac! Stop it. Oh. Hang on, we got many dogs wrapped around many pieces of pod equipment here.
Okay, get your butt out of there, alright.
Guac? Maybe put Vink in fat jail.
Like walking fetch.
Or Guac in fat jail, that's fine. Everybody's kind of wound up here, and we just need to manage it a little bit. Longtime listeners will know that fat jail is my office. It was not named for me. It was, where are you going?
Trying to get the claw for
Oh my god,
boy.
Ingo just like went upstairs
He's a good boy.
to get the shark for Guac. Fat jail is so named because my office has a baby gate, and that's where we used to put Vink when she started on her diet, because otherwise she would eat everybody else's food. So anyway, Ingo wakes me up and he's like, "Do you want to hear about the problem of the day? The Jeep won't start. The Jeep is totally dead." And we have like a little charger, a jump pack. It did not work. It didn't do a damn thing to the Jeep. So we're going to tell you guys the whole story if you're a subscriber on the bonus pod, because it's like a half-hour story.
It's one of these stories, if I start rambling about this, Jen would go, where's the beginning, the middle, and the end? Ingo.
I was thinking, I'm like, when we tell this, I'm going to have to really inform you that I am in control of the timeline, and you're just going to have to comment on the bits. We're going to do it as a bonus pod for the subscribers, but what I will say is we had to call somebody to get the car jumped, which is quite hard to do on a Sunday morning in South Carolina because people are in church. But we did get it jumped, but that did not fix all of our problems, because like the brake lights on the Jeep didn't work with the wire harness on the RV.
Again.
Which they should be independent of the battery being broken. So we kind of illegally drove it the rest of the way home, but nobody crashed into us, which was great. And then today we had to get the Jeep running again, because like even though we were able to jump it, the battery was fucked, and like it wouldn't, every time we tried to use it, it wouldn't start. So we had to get a new battery, and we were trying to jump it today to drive it to the place to get a new battery, and there was a fire. We'll talk more about it on the bonus pod. Is that worth your $4.99 this month to hear about the fire that Ingo started in the cars?
The fire was put out. Just
Maybe.
Yeah.
Everything's fixed now, though.
Is that worth $4.99? Or does that take away from it? Never mind. Then you don't know. You don't know then.
Yep. So there was some drama. It is now all solved. About $500 and a little bit of stress later. Other than that.
Mrs.
Drama,
Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play?
the drive was great. Feta was just perfect the whole time.
So good.
She kind of mostly slept when she played. It was like very gentle, kind of lazy play. But when we got to South Carolina, she was like exploded with energy.
Holy smokes.
So we got in at like 9:30 p.m. and I walked her around, ran around with her, threw the ball for her. I didn't come inside
Close to midnight.
until midnight. Yeah. I mean, it was almost 3 hours with Feta outside, and she was not done. She did fortunately go to sleep pretty quickly after I brought her in.
Pine cones for her, or those like just a plastic bottle, whatever you had. She was like chasing it, chewing it,
Oh my God.
jumping on it.
She was like chewing on the
super wound
leash
up.
and tugging it, and like then I'd let her go and she'd have the zoomies. We walked up and down and up and down. We got there and I got 9,000 steps walking around with
You know what's
Feta.
amazing? She didn't dive into the big pond that we were next to.
She didn't. No.
That is amazing. No dog did, and I thought we'd lose at least one or two.
Yeah. So everybody did a great job on the road trip. Like,
Everyone was really good, actually. Yeah, individually, any potential problems that anyone might have had did not occur.
yeah. But it was very frustrating 3 hours for me because I was very tired and I was like, you know what I don't want to do is like walk up and down and like throw stuff, but I need her to go to sleep because we can't have her just barking in her little porta crate all
I
night.
wanted to throw stuff, but not for.
And at one point I was like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take her to Dogtopia, which is like the doggy day camp here. A bunch of the dogs have been there.
Cheaper doggy day camp than the other one.
Oh, it's not Old Town Pet Resort. That's true.
You pay for the extra Oldie
Townie Pet Resort.
Resorty. There's
They're
so many
very
extra
good
E's.
too. But Dogtopia is great. And I took Walk there a bunch. Brody went there a few times. Like, Nacho definitely spent time there. Toby, everybody's gone there.
Yeah,
They're
it's like
really
a
great.
Classic doggy daycare.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of dogs together hanging out.
They're really, like, the people there are great. The dogs are well taken care of. And Feta needs some socialization. She's very comfortable with the squad, but she's still kind of tentative when she leaves the house. And in fact, it's hard to walk her because all she wants to do is go back home. She does not want to leave. So we need her exposed to more stuff.
But then if like a bus drives by, she tries to chase the bus. Like the garbage truck will go by and she'll be like, "Oh, a loud noise! I'm following it."
Yeah, it doesn't really know what to
So
do.
it's like it's bad on both fronts.
So when I was spending these 3 hours after a full day of, like, full 12 hours of driving, I was like, Dogtopia. And I was like looking it up on my phone while I'm running around with her. And they're like, okay, your dogs have to have all these vaccines. And one of them is influenza. And I was like, fuck, we didn't get her influenza.
But she was not part of that cycle.
And I was like, Ingo, I can't believe we didn't get her influenza. And Ingo's like, I'd better not speak because Jen is in a bad mood.
Who's we? Me and my frog?
And then I was like, wait, she got this weird 6-way vaccine, which includes
6-pack.
influenza. And I'm like, great, she has her flu vaccine because those you have to get 2 shots 2 weeks apart. And I was like, so we can't get it here because we'll basically be done here by the time, you know, she's fully vaccinated. But she had that. And then I was like, wait a minute, she hasn't had her rabies shot yet because she just turned old enough to get rabies. So today, Ingo took her to a new vet, Bond Vet.
Dun, 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 dun.
Buena
It's not like
Bond Vet is great. They've got like an online portal. Like they're like, walk-ins welcome. Would you like an appointment? And then I'm like, today. And they're like, which location? And I was like, how about this one? And they're like, well, that one's full, but here's the other ones and all their appointment times. It was so easy. It was like making a dinner reservation on Open Table. And Ingo brought her in and they were like, super nice, you said.
Oh, they loved the puppy aspect, but they're also just super nice, like, you know, knowledgeable vets, very kind. Techs were really into dog. I mean, just very nice, very professional, but also very good.
Yeah, and I like got the records from our vet in the Keys, and I was like, "Look, she needs her rabies shot. We forgot to get it with you guys before we left, so we're gonna get it here." So they sent me all her records, and they had like texted you and were like, "Could you send us whatever records you have?" So I sent them all to them by email, and I got this auto response. It's like, "Hey, our email's really full. Just so you know, you might not get an email for a while." And then like 2 minutes later, like, "Great, we got those." By the way, it looks like she's also due for her lepto booster and like one other one. Do you want us to do those too?
More to tell, I think.
And I was like, great, that's great that you like read this and are like, oh, she also needs these boosters.
Yeah.
Let's do those too. So they were really awesome. So if you have a Bond Vet near you, it seems like it's kind of like one of these national chains that like own a bunch of practices, but like they were great. And it was, you know, our vet's like booked out. Like I called
That's
some
right.
other vet and I was like, that I think we've used before. And I was like, hey, we got this puppy. She needs rabies. And they're like, October. And I was like, no, thank you. And this was just like, you could just pick the day and the time off a list. It was really awesome.
Yeah.
So she got all of her vaccines today. And then she's going in on Thursday for her evaluation and hopefully to spend all day at Doggy Day Camp at Dogtopia, which is going to be really good for socializing her.
Unless she's considered a miscreant, and then they'll be like, "Nyeh."
They let Guac in.
Yeah, well,
And then I picked him up and they're like, he's climbed on top of all the dog crates
he
and
likes to stand on
is
there and
barking at
the other
everybody.
dogs.
Maybe I'll bring Guac in too.
Oh yeah, well,
Since
he's
he's
a
still
totally
with-
different dog now.
So let's see. Other feta
Oh, what was I gonna
updates.
say about the vet?
Oh yeah.
Like, she did a very. It's not like it was in any way mass production vet medicine. She did a very thorough wellness check. She checked like the hips and everything else, and figured out that Feta has a little ear infection in one ear.
Treated
She's
it.
like, her ear is wet. Why is that? And I said, well, she likes to splash in the water bowl and then fall asleep in the water. She's like, she also has an ear infection, so maybe not fall asleep. Don't let her fall asleep in the water anymore.
The records that we got literally said, advise not to let patients sleep in water bowl.
That's a problem for ear infections, but they treated that too. I mean, so it's not like they just gave her the injections and ushered her out the door.
But you can get that, like Petco has clinics like that where we did that with Vode's ones, I think.
Yeah, but the one we did for Remy too, where they like supposedly did a wellness check, but they didn't. They really just wanted to give the injections and get them out of there.
Oh, excuse me, I'm
These
tired
guys
still.
seem to care. And
Yeah.
Plus, they loved her puppiness, but they also seem to care. They took her.
And they gave us a branded tennis ball to take home.
Ball and a frisbee.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, if Feta were a cat, we would have gotten a cat toy. I mean, it's self-serve. I could have grabbed some cat toys. I thought about it.
So that's that. The drive was fine. We are here now. We're here until the end of the month.
There
So
might be training sessions for Feta in the future.
Feda's going to see Michael the trainer on Saturday. We are not planning to do board and train with her, but he does puppies and stuff on Saturdays.
Pick her up every day. Or drop her off and pick her up.
Yep. So she is going to get some training with him, which is great.
Day camp, boot camp.
Boot camp. You'll be in good company. Everybody except Vink and Brody you've gone through. Which I mean, there's just Guac and Remy, but.
So the ones who don't care about us at all didn't go through. Sorry, Brody.
Brody, you're perfect.
You are
You're a good man.
autonomous. You do your own thing. You don't need to listen to commands.
Other Feta updates. In speaking of socialization, like she really needs more socialization. And I mean, we've only had her a couple weeks. It's fine, but we're like, we got to get her out more so she's not just in her house. And there's not a lot of opportunities to do that in the Keys other than like walking up and down the block. But we're here for 3 weeks. So in addition to Dogtopia and meeting Michael, we're taking her places. And tonight we went to Spanish Diner, which is very similar to Jaleo from Jose Andres. And they have outdoor seating. And I was like, should we bring Feta? And so we brought her to the restaurant.
She's so portable. It's so tempting.
Sit on the patio, and she was like a perfect little angel.
Oh my goodness. She didn't bark. She didn't bite. She didn't like try to climb on the table. She was just so good.
She
so
like,
good.
could I have that crust of your bread? And then she was like very attentively like looking at everything going on. But she was great. She was
amazing.
great. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't have. At some point, she like curled up next to the table and slept on the floor. I mean, you couldn't have been better.
So good.
European like.
Yeah, she did a great job. So we're going to try to take her to a bunch of outdoor places while we're here. In other news on
We'll
Feta.
take her to the zoo. See how she reacts to big animals.
I don't know about that.
Small animals?
No. Her Giardia is officially resolved.
Speaking of small animals.
Yep, she got a test on Friday. I guess I brought her to the vet, and they tested her Giardia free. So that's good.
Yep.
Because that can be hard to get rid of.
Yep. She also eats like a champ. She's not quite on track for 365 pounds. I'm a little disappointed that my projection may have been a little optimistic.
Yeah.
But we could still make 180.
She is 25 pounds today. She is about 17 weeks old, which means on your original schedule she should weigh 84. On your revised schedule, she should weigh 42. She actually weighs 25.
I'll feed her more.
I did.
We can catch up. I think we can catch up.
Somebody had asked, and I found an online calculator where you put in, like, you pick like the breed and how old they are and what they weigh, and it gives you a prediction for their future weight. And hers is around 50. So according to this very scientific online calculator,
She'll always be cute.
she'll be small. She will be smaller than Vink.
Yeah, I think she's the runt. I think she is a small one. Who knows? Somebody pointed out Venk today and said, "Bad angle Venk is making a return."
Vink weighs 62, you guys.
Bad angle.
She's been down to 59, but she's basically the same as she was.
Bad angle.
She's fine. Last night I was like brushing my teeth before bed.
After the walking around? No, last night we were here.
Yeah, last night
Oh
here.
my god.
So our house here is very small, you guys. Like, it is much smaller than the house in Florida, and the square feet here are divided among 3 levels instead of 1.
It's like if you took the Florida house and made it into like 6 rooms. They're
Yeah.
really small rooms.
Like, the bathroom upstairs, we have a bathroom on the second floor, and we have a bathroom in the basement. There's no bathroom on the main floor. And the second floor bathroom is small enough that you can stand in the middle and reach your hands out and touch all the walls. It is extremely small.
Yeah.
And I was in there brushing my teeth, and I felt Feta kind of come in and stand behind me. And then I heard this weird sound, and I looked behind me, and Feta was not there. But what she had done is grab the end of the toilet paper and run out of the bedroom, down the hall, and out of the bathroom, down the hall, and into the bedroom with the toilet paper still connected to the roll.
She was very proud of herself.
Extremely proud of herself. So she's clearly getting some advice from Ghost Woods
It's bad advice, Ghost
about
Foods.
what to do.
It's bad advice.
You said to write down that she was also eating the spicy hay.
Yes.
So I don't know if we mentioned this before, but I have a PhD student who has bunnies, and she mentioned one time, like, sometimes the bunnies chew the wires, and she calls it the spicy hay, and I loved it so much that I've started calling it the spicy hay when Feta chews the wires.
She did chew your disconnected, I hope, computer power cable ones.
I mean, it was a USB cable. I think it was plugged in still, but it didn't do anything.
Alright.
She's eaten one cable, I think. That's it.
It comes up a little bit when we do this podcasting because there's a bunch of carbs a lot, and she might just like eat some carbs a lot.
For those of you who don't know, Kabelsalat was German word of the week a while back. It means cable salad, and it's just all those wires that are all in a pile.
All wrapped up and looks like salad,
Good description of the podcast box.
pasta salad. Mm-hmm. Spicy pasta salad.
That's all I have for dog updates. Do you have anything you want to add?
I think that's it. That's it. Everyone else is doing well.
Excellent.
Brody got his second acupuncture thing and massage and laser, and he liked it.
Yeah, he seems very happy. I don't know that he seems more mobile or anything.
He
But it seems
tolerated
good.
the drive as well as he ever has.
See, when we were driving back last time, we took the memory foam orthopedic padding out of one of the beds here and put it down between the 2 front seats,
Where
and that's
he loves to lie.
where he lays every time. And I think it makes a huge difference
Oh,
where
yeah.
he's not on that plywood floor; he's on
I've-
like this plush padding.
I've lain on that floor before petting a dog, like St. Patrick or something, and every time there's a minor bump in the road, and there are millions. Like, just
Mhm.
imagine going over a bridge on the highway. It is a deafening boom and a bang, and it smashes your head around. And like being on a memory foam instead of just the wooden floor there would be great.
Yeah.
It makes a huge. I think it's made a huge. He was able to sleep on the islands, right?
Yep. Oh. Okay, it's time for ramblings. I have a podcast recommendation and a news story that you shared with me today.
Excellent.
Which would you like to go first?
Podcast recommendation because it's unusual and therefore exciting.
So this will not be as good as normal gossip, which is maybe my best podcast recommendation that I've given. But for those of you who are really into Serial, like episode 1 when it came out,
Tricks Serial. This is the podcast about a kid in Maryland.
yes, the Adnan Syed, Heyman Lee, which we, along with half of the country, listened to quite attentively at the time. So if you are a true crime podcast person, you know that there's a bunch of documentaries, there's dedicated podcasts to the case.
It's a whodunit.
I have not, Adnan Syed did it.
It's a did he do it?
He did it. I have not been super into all of the stuff after that. I kind of finished Serial and I was like, yeah, it kind of seems like you did it.
There was a post-conviction motion, there was a retrial, there was an appeal, there were all sorts of stuff.
So it's interesting. There was a mistrial in his initial trials. The first one was a mistrial because his attorney was arguing with the prosecution in front of the judge on the sidebar. And they, as you know, when there's a sidebar, the judge turns on a white noise machine so the jury can't hear it. And she was saying that there was a very heated argument. And she was accusing the prosecutor of something kind of untoward And the judge says, I will not have spurious accusations. Like, if you're going to make accusations, you're going to back them up. I won't have you just saying stuff like this in the court. And one of the jurors wrote a note to the judge and said, since you called the defense attorney a liar, does that mean we have to start over? And so the judge declared a mistrial. That's why there was a mistrial the first time.
Ouch.
Yeah. And
so much for the white noise machine.
Yeah. So he was convicted on the second trial that they actually got to finish. But quite recently, that trial, that conviction was vacated, and then the Maryland Appellate Court reinstated the conviction. So there's like stuff going on now. But anyway, I had always been like, sure, seems like he did it, but it does seem like there's some issues here. And I listened to this podcast, True Crime Garage, where I think one of the there's two hosts of that show, and I think one of them kind of thought he didn't do it.
Nick and the captain.
The captain, I think,
so cool.
The captain really likes conspiracy theories and with like true crime stuff, and I think he thought that Adnan didn't do it. And he just put a post up last week that was like, Adnan Syed, like, did you think he did it or not? Be civil in the comments. And the first comment was like, I totally thought he was innocent until I listened to the prosecutor's podcast about it, and now I'm totally convinced that he did it. And there were like 10 comments that were like, exactly, yes, same for me. Like, I thought he was innocent until I listened to the prosecutors. So I was like, I need another thing to listen to.
What's this?
So the prosecutors they've had like 200 episodes, and it's two prosecutors, a man and a woman, and they host this podcast together, and they did a 14-part series.
Podcasts are
and they're like an hour each.
Such a great medium.
And it's amazing. I listened to it on the drive up. I mean, I was listening to it on some of my walks before, but on the drive up. And like the first 4 episodes, like 4 hours of content, are literally just them doing the timeline of like, from like her diaries and the cell phone pings, and they come at it and they're like, if he did it, this means this, and if he didn't do it, it means this. And they go through the whole thing with like no position on whether he did it or not, just going like, this is what this means. You know, like, if you remember the podcast, like this guy Jay who helped him bury the body, like, he definitely helped him bury the body. Like, he knew where the body was. He knew where her car was abandoned. Like, he definitely knew what was going on. But he also lied about a bunch of stuff. It's well established. His stories change time to time. But they're like, look, this thing that he said in every one of the stories is in line with this thing on this cell phone thing, which everybody concedes is reliable. And, like, Adnan Syed also said he was with him at the time that this happened. And so it doesn't matter if you think he is lying, like there's also like other evidence that supports it. So if you listen to Serial, and you know, whether you like got deep into this case or
if you cared about it, you'd be interested.
Yeah, if you were interested. I mean, I literally like listened to Serial, and then, you know, I'd like read the occasional news story, but it was not like some people got super obsessed with this case, like Jean Benet, right? I've listened to a few podcasts about Jean Benet Ramsey, but I'm not like super obsessed with it. But even if you just listen to Serial, this is like super interesting and like very well and factually and neutrally laid out. So I will probably listen to more of the prosecutor's podcast after this. Like, both of the hosts are really good and it's very well researched, but you know, whether or not you go into the podcast, like those 14 episodes, just listen to them in order. It's pretty good.
That's a good recommendation.
Thank you.
There you go. There's still enough summer left in the 10 days before September 21st, when Voodoos are no longer available, to listen to a podcast.
There you go. All right. Here is the article that you sent me. I will note that The Guardian has a headline that says this article is more than 10 years old. This is from 2013, but it's still a good story.
Worth noting.
Drunk and boorish. Not boorish. Boorish.
Yep.
Swigging pig hogs 18 beers at campsite. Campers told to lock up food and drink after feral pig goes on bender in Western Australia and ends up in an altercation with cow.
You know, they should have been told to lock it up beforehand, but there you go.
And it's got a picture of the pig, which is kind of cute. And the caption is,
hung over there.
The feral pig slept it off under a nearby tree. A rampage by a feral pig that consumed 18 beers has prompted warnings for people at campsites to properly secure their food and alcohol. The pig struck at De Grey River Rest Area, east of the remote Western Australian town of Port Hedland in the Pilbara, according to the ABC. The animal was seen stealing 3 six-packs of beer from campers before ransacking rubbish bags for food. One camper
The
reported...
munchies, it's the munchies.
One camper reported seeing the pig guzzling the beer before getting involved in an altercation with a cow. Quote, "In the middle of the night, these people camping opposite us heard a noise, so they got their torch out and shone it on the pig, and there he was, scrunching away at their cans," said the visitor, who estimated the pig had consumed 18 beers. Then he went and raided all the rubbish bags. There were some other people camped right on the river, and they saw him being chased around their vehicle by a cow.
Wait, the cow won.
The cow was chasing the pig.
Yeah, there you go, pig. That's what happens when you have beer goggles. You think you're much bigger than you are, but the cow actually just can kick your butt.
Now I want to say,
That's not even a slab of beer. Why didn't he drink more schooners? Bloody hell, stupid white pig.
as you know, Ingo, I'm not a camper.
Correct.
I don't do camping.
Correct.
If I were to do camping, this sounds fucking miserable. You're at like a river and you're like, oh, the people at the campsite across from us. It's just like you and like a bunch of strangers
Hence the beer.
out in the wood. Yeah, it sounds
If
terrible.
you're insensate from the beer, everything is fine.
If I'm going to camp, I want like a remote spot in the beautiful wilderness where like all I hear are the sounds of nature. Not like there were like 2 or 3 other campsites that this person has mentioned in these 2 quotes of other people hanging out in the same place. I don't want to go hang out with other people.
Sounds of nature, like a drunk pig getting chased by a cow. That's nature for you.
The pig was reportedly last seen resting under a tree, possibly nursing a hangover.
Possibly, most definitely. You know what's in the river? Crocodiles.
Yeah.
You know what's on the dry land? Snakes.
Stuff's going to kill you.
You know what's in your tent? Spiders.
A dingo.
No. Dingo ate your baby. No.
Dingo did eat that lady's baby. Did you know that?
Yes.
They
It
did?
was Meryl Streep, and yes, they turned out the inquest said if they did find
The dingo ate the baby.
Dingo ate the baby.
Yeah. All right. You guys can look that up if you want to know about it. All right, it's time for Taste of the Keys.
Okay. I'm in.
Friend of the squad, Gwen Filosa, Pulitzer Prize winning reporter in the Florida Keys.
We are lucky to have her.
We are. She, by the way, is going to come on the podcast at some point once we
Get our shit together.
get our shit together. She keeps
Sorry,
going.
Gwen.
She's like, "Can I be on your podcast?" And I was like, "Gwen, we would be honored to have you on the podcast." And then I'm like, "I do not have my shit together."
We are not worthy. When we're worthy, you can be on the podcast.
Yeah. So she broke the story, as far as I'm concerned. And she says, someone put Jimmy Buffett on the Key West Airport entrance sign on Sunday morning. So the Key West, let's talk about the Key West Airport sign.
Let's take this necessary detour about what they're doing to paradise.
Key West International Airport has 8 gates.
Airports love to call themselves international when they have like one flight across the border. I remember Cleveland. It's like international airport. Yeah, you have flights to Toronto. Come on, it's not an international airport in the New York, Chicago, Los Angeles are international airports. Cleveland, Ohio, no. Key West?
Key West Airport, Havana is where you can fly to.
Yeah, one destination, one flight a week. It does not make you an international airport.
Key West Air does now do day trips to Havana, which I very much want to do once I make sure it's not going to get my passport flagged.
Yeah, that it gets before they discontinue it.
They're like technically allowed, but it's like you fly out in the morning and then they have a whole itinerary kind of thing planned for you.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of Hemingway stuff.
Yeah.
You go to Hemingway, you get to see the Pilar. I think you go to
If
Hemingway.
it's educational, you're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
I think the cruise ships got dinged because they were like, it's an educational tour, and they let like their 400 cruise passengers depart to like buy T-shirts or something. And they're like, they're getting an education about Havana.
Yeah.
And the whatever cruise ship authority in the United States was like, no,
Yeah.
violating all sorts of things
So anyway, maybe your mom and dad to Cuba at some point.
for educational purposes only.
I would love to be educated and
Disclaimer:
not stay
we will
overnight.
comply with all like applicable laws.
Yeah. Anyway, the airport is very small, and when you get on your plane, you walk outside across the
Huge.
tarmac, up a set of stairs to your plane. Very old school.
It's amazing. They often had to say, yours is this third airplane on the left. You can't go in the second one. That's going to Atlanta. You got to go to the third one.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
People go to the wrong one all the time. They have a dude out there who's like, nope, your plane is that other one
Usually
over
they
there.
catch it most
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
So this is Key West International Airport. It is a teeny tiny little airport. You can park like 20 feet from the entrance. Like you just
They probably have room for 4 planes, passenger planes to park. I mean, I don't think more.
I don't think you could park all 8 of them at once. They wouldn't fit.
When you land, you have to wait for some dude to wheel the steps up to the plane.
We call him
one
Steve.
Dude. It's one dude for all the planes. So if 2 planes
Yeah.
land, you gotta wait for the dude.
Yeah. So I don't know what his name actually is, but we call him Steve. So if it's like I've landed and Ingo's waiting to pick me up, I'm like, we've landed and now we're waiting for Steve to bring the stairs.
You know, at a normal airport, you're like, incoming flight from Washington is on. The baggage is coming on carousels 1, 2, 3, or coming on passenger carousel 42.
Yeah.
There are 2 carousels in Key West, and I think one of them doesn't work.
Only one works
Only one
for
works.
sure.
So it's always passenger carousel 2 that it comes on for passenger, but it's also Steve, so he has to like
Yes.
multitask. So your bags come quite late.
It takes like an hour to get your bags to Key
Which-
West. Don't check a bag to
And
Key
it's
West.
50 feet, but it
Yes.
takes an hour.
Just carry your bag.
Yeah, you should be packing only flip-flops anyway.
Yeah. So Key West International Airport, I think the sign is of a size reflective of the truth of the airport, which is it is smaller than the Benihana sign.
More chickens than taxi cabs.
Yes, for sure.
Oh, it is smaller than Benihana.
There's a Benihana like next door to the airport, and the Benihana sign is bigger than the airport sign.
The first time you drive by, you miss it because you see a sign. You're like, as you're driving by, you're like, that says Key West Airport, but it was such a weird little small sign. There's no way, and then that was it.
That was it.
You got to turn around.
Yeah. So it was like a wood carved sign, and it was kind of like whitewashed, and it had like scripty like Key
Seagulls
West
on it.
International Airport,
Yeah,
and
seagulls
like
in flight.
yep, and the letters were like pink, and it was all kind of scripty, and it was cute, but it was very old for sure. It was dated,
Mhm.
and then they took the sign down a few months ago, and they're putting up a new sign. And so they get like a slab, and then they get a rectangle. It looks kind of like a gravestone, like a long
It
gravestone.
looks terrible. If it's not Times New Roman, it's one of those.
Oh, it's Helvetica.
It's faceless. Faceless.
Yeah. So they've got this like long gravestone shaped white sign now.
Still not that big.
And like, no, it is no bigger. And then the top third of the sign has like a little indent, and in Helvetica it says Key West International Airport. But it says Key West on the top line and International Airport on the bottom line. So the Key West is really small. It goes up to the T, the second T in international.
Yes, there's a big space after Key West. Blank.
Key West, a
space.
lot of blank space, International Airport. It
Mhm.
is right justified.
Yep.
It is and that's it. There's no decorations. There's,
Left justified.
I'm sorry, yes, left justified. You guys, I don't know if we've talked about this, but I do not know my left from my right.
We do best when we refer to passenger side and driver's side.
Yes. I guess it depends which way your car is facing, but if your car were to run into the sign, it would be.
If it's Vank's ear, it's very clear which is the driver's side ear.
Anyway, yes, it is left justified. Key West International Airport, absolutely no character, nothing interesting. It is dumb, sucky sign.
Out of place. It's out of place.
So,
It should be in a strip mall in Columbus. That sign.
yeah. If you would like to see a picture of the sign, you can follow Gwen Filosa. Her Twitter handle is Key West Gwen. She's a good follow for all news keys.
And dogs.
And dogs. She tweets about dogs a lot. And so the story is that this week someone added on to the sign after the Key West, which remember, it's small. So
It
there's
invites
space to after
someone
it.
to fill that space.
and using like electrical tape, it looks like, also in pretty close approximation of Helvetica font as one could do with
I'm
electrical tape,
impressed. I was impressed.
made the sign say a perfectly full, justified, I might add, Key West Jimmy Buffett International Airport.
Totally great.
It is great.
Totally great.
Apparently, it stayed up there for 15 minutes, and they were a real dick to the guy who did it and are arresting him for vandalism.
Yeah, and this may be the new act of civil disobedience in Key West. Is repainting that.
If there is a GoFundMe for the guy who did the sign, I will support it.
Yeah, it may be vandalism, but it's also an improvement. And R.I.P. Jimmy.
Someone responded to Gwen's tweet about this and said, "Sharpie it on there next time," and she responds, "You're savage. I respect that."
Clearly, they took too long to do it and got caught on the spot, and they did it in an impermanent way. Sharpie is faster and permanenter.
Yeah, that's true. I am not. I mean, I think Jimmy Buffett's fine. I like some of his songs. I'm definitely not like a parrot head. I'm not that huge fan of like anyone. I don't think.
You just don't use that term. In attitude, you are very much aligned.
I definitely have the Jimmy Buffett attitude
That's all I'm
for
saying.
sure.
You're not cheap, and you're cautious of cults, but in attitude, you're not opposite a parrot.
I do have the changes in latitudes and changes in attitudes for
Totally.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live and let live, and I'm gonna just have a good time. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And I do like the Margaritaville song.
There you go.
I mean,
it's not. Ignore the labels and the marketing. He was right about many, many good things.
So Gwen was like, "Is it vandalism or should it be a permanent change?" And I was like, "Absolutely, should be a permanent change. Like, not even a parrot head, but let's call it the Key West Jimmy Buffett International Airport and sass it up a little bit."
Would it be awesome? You'd fly to
Jimmy Buffett Field.
Holy smokes! Tourism would increase
That'd be great.
500%.
That'd be great.
They renamed National Airport here, Ronald Reagan Airport. He was still alive.
Jimmy Buffett better than Ronald Reagan.
He was still alive.
All right, so there you go. That's Taste of the Keys. Somebody renamed it Key West Jimmy Buffett International Airport in a total win that lasted for 15 minutes. We support you, dude. Good work.
Inspirational AF.
Time for German Word of the Week.
Oh yeah, it's apropos of nothing.
Which you say often. Apropos of nothing.
It's true every time. Fledermaus.
The Field Mouse
The fluffy mouse.
is an opera.
No, it's the bat.
There's an opera, though.
Yes, there is also an opera. I don't
Wait,
know why.
Fledermaus means bat?
Yes, it means the bat. A bat.
A bat!
Yeah, I don't know why they have such a short word for it in English, but in German it's a much more bigger word.
It means fluffy.
Fluttery. Fluttery mouse.
Oh, fluttery.
Fluttery.
Okay.
But also fluffy, but fluttery.
Is Die Fledermaus about a bat?
I don't know. I've never seen Die Fledermaus. You're the one who told me it was Strauss.
It is. The original literary source for Die Fledermaus was Das Gefängnis,
Yeah.
the prison,
Jail.
a farce by German playwright Julius Roderich Benedicts
Wow.
that premiered in Berlin in 1851.
Wow.
On 10 September 1872, a three-act French vaudeville play by Henri Milhac and Ludovic Halevi, Le Réveillon, loosely based on the Benedict's farce, opened at Théâtre du Palais Royal.
Goodness gracious. What is going on
They
here?
provided several libretti for Offenbach, blah blah. It does not tell me what it is about at all. There's a really bad flash photo picture.
When did Strauss write Die Fledermaus? Or Steele, now it seems like. Or Steele.
Adapted, one might say.
Mhm.
The operetta premiered on April 5th, 1874
Oh.
at Theater an der Wein in Vienna. It has been part of the regular repertoire ever since. Let's say, oh my god, there's like a plot by plot synopsis. Oh, but it has a song called the Champagne Song.
There you go. Pretty good. It is Viennese.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's not terrible.
Also, that's in English, so what the fuck?
I mean, he was a smart guy.
That was performed by the United States Air Force Band in English.
Okay. This is very interesting now. For the next bonus pod, we're going to analyze Die Fledermaus and its history and influences.
Okay,
And the United States Air Force Band.
Act 2 is set at a summer house in the Villa
This is
Orlovsky.
for paying customers only. You can't buy this kind of entertainment, except you can.
It transpires that Falca, with Prince Orlovsky's permission, is using the ball as a way of getting revenge on Eisenstein.
Goodness
Sometime before, after a costume party, Eisenstein had abandoned Falca, very drunk and dressed in a bat costume, in the center of town, exposing him to ridicule the next day. So it is about a bat. Bat
Exposing
costume.
him to ridicule. Oh no! It's the worst.
The parents were dismayed!
The parents were dismayed.
Alright, we'll do like
my
a...
goodness. Now I have to learn about the freaking Fledermaus.
Well, maybe we'll watch the movie and we'll do like a live tweet.
There's a movie?
Oh, there's gotta be, right?
Get the Fledermaus out of here.
Let's see if Amazon has the...
Wait, a live version of the operetta?
Oh, like a
Murder.
live recording?
Seems
of
like a
it?
YouTube thing where it's like some dude in the audience with a
Yeah, that's
shaky
true.
phone. Up 6 hours.
Alright, well, we can definitely buy many different DVDs of it being performed.
DVD player.
We do.
We have one here.
Do we
but
have
not
one?
in Florida.
I've got like that external DVD drive in a drawer somewhere that we could watch it on the computer.
That's a computer.
Oh no, here we go! Johann Strauss at oh no, I'm gonna say it's on Prime Video, it's currently unavailable.
There's a lot of good stuff that's currently.
I bet it's on like Tubi
Maybe.
with like weird commercials in
One
it.
of 3 movies that they have. Tubi.
Tubi, we watch a ton of Tubi has a ton of movies.
They're not.
It doesn't have any good movies. That's not true. I'm sure they have plenty of good movies, but we watch bad shark movies on Tubi all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can watch it on YouTube. 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 11 seconds.
There's an intermission though. I'm sure you can go 15 minutes to go to the bathroom.
Die Fledermaus, full operetta with English subtitles on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I'll put it on the list.
It's a task.
2 hours, holy crap.
Not the boogeyman, but what are you gonna do?
No. Okay. It's time for Ingo Corner, where you can say whatever you want, and I won't tell you it's boring.
Whoa! I was surprised by this. I'm very pleased to be up in Maryland. It's nice to have change. It's nice to have weather that gets cool at night.
Yeah,
That's cray.
word.
And it's interesting how having this teeny tiny house. I mean, we're in tiny house TM.
Yeah, it is Tiny House TM.
Compresses the dogs in ways and makes them interact in ways that it doesn't otherwise. Like Feta is all over Vink all the time
Yeah,
because Vink can't get away and can't be like out of the zone.
yeah.
So Feta basically just kind of, whenever she's a little bit bored, wanders over to Vink, whom she's not afraid of, correctly,
Yep.
and just chomps.
Does
or
chomp.
or jumps on her or wraps her arms around her. It's very cute. But Vink is also a good sport about it and enjoys it. So it's a whole generational cycle here. We're doing real well.
Yeah,
Another way of saying no regrets about Feta.
indeed.
That's it.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. If you want the full story of the fire that Ingo started in the cars, please subscribe to...
Fire shin.
That means little fire. You can subscribe on Patreon or Twitter. And until next time, Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
That's right.
Bye!